Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Jesus' mighty name. Hallelujah. Amen. Disclaimer. All footage taken falls under the fair use of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1998. Therefore, no breach of privacy or copyright has been committed. This video is made for educational purposes only.
Time to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up! Up you wake, up you wake, up you wake, up you wake! Wake up!
Time to wake up.
Happy Sabbath, grace and peace, shalom and shalom. All praises and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in the mighty name of Jesus. Welcome to the Wake Up Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And now for your host, Brother Isaac K. Fingers.
Good morning everybody. Wakey, rise and shine. Grace and peace, shalom and shalom, all glory to the Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, who's blessed forevermore. Happy Sabbath, everybody. Hallelujah. Thank you for tuning in to The Wake Up Show with myself, Brother Isaac K. Fingers. We try to do this, Lord willing, every seventh day of the week, which the world calls Saturday. It's the Lord's Sabbath, but the world calls it Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Israel time on YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. And if you're on Clubhouse, click the link you see there at the top of the page, and it'll bring you to the YouTube channel. And I ask everybody on all platforms, please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you guys are having a good, restful, and peaceful Sabbath. And I hope the rest of the day goes well for you as well, too. Let's go ahead and open up with these verses. Let's go to Isaiah 8 and verse 20. To the law and to the testimony. Read this again. To the law and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So from Genesis to Malachi and also Matthew to Revelation, from Genesis to Revelation equals salvation. Let's see who did this in the past, who's doing it now, and who's going to do it in the future. Let's go over to Revelation 14. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go to Revelation 14 and 12. Here are the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God, that's the law, and the faith of Jesus. So everyone wants to proclaim themselves to be a saint. But if you're going to be a saint, you have to do what the saints had to do. Here are the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. So they kept them both. It's a balance. Who doesn't want the world to do this? Not just the Israelites, but the rest of the Gentiles and Hamites, and people want to call them heathens. He wants them to do the same thing. But who doesn't want the world to do this? Because it ain't always just about Israel. But let me stop rambling. Let's go to Revelation 12 and 17. And the dragon, this is Satan himself, read the whole chapter, was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God, the law, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So there's the balance again. If you have the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ, or the faith of Jesus Christ, who told us to keep the commandments of God, hey, it's salvation. I got one chat rule. Please don't engage with those who object. If we get anybody in the chats, please let me and my moderators handle it, and we shall return right back with Brother Cassious Israel and Big Homie Yurp with prophecy is and will be fulfilled. We'll be right back.
Wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up! Up you wake, up you wake, up you wake, up you wake! Wake up, wake up, wake up! Up you wake, up you wake, up you wake, up you wake!
Welcome back to the Wake Up Show. I'm Brother Isaac K. Finger. Thank you guys for tuning in. This week's guest, my close brothers, Cassious Israel, Big Homie Yurp, with prophecy is and shall be fulfilled. Happy Sabbath, brothers.
Shalom, shalom. Happy Sabbath to everybody. Yurp.
Shabbat shalom. All praise to the Most High.
So what I want to do is, I haven't seen, and it's just me, I have not seen, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think people thought that it was important at the time, and probably wasn't. But as far as dealing with economics, so what we're going to do is, the title is Prophecy is and Shall be Fulfilled. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over two main things that are signs that we're getting closer and closer to the end. One of those signs is the economy, and we don't talk about that enough, but that is going to be really a prominent thing in the future because it is going to affect us. It can also affect your faith. People normally associate blessings with monetary gain, even though that's not necessarily the case, but sometimes it can be. But if you're out here, you're struggling, and you can't pay your bills, and you can't feed your family, things of that nature, somebody coming up to you talking about, man, just keep the faith. It's just not going to be as strong. And let's just be realistic. It's not. So what we can do is we can show people what is coming so that they can prepare for these times where their faith won't be really tested to the point where they ready to give it up. And this is the remnant I'm talking to, because there are going to be some people where you are going to fall off. Lord willing, it is not us. It is not you. I really don't want it to be anybody, but the reality is somebody is. And so what we're going to do is that we're going to go through these scriptures. We're going to start off with actually showing that God had no problem with a person becoming rich and wealthy. We are going to start off with that. I know we like to go to it's hard for a rich man to get into the kingdom. Well, that depends on what he's doing in his mindset. And that's the point.
That's right.
If he's establishing his wealth and then turn around, which we're going to see in here, and turn around and says, I got this by my own power in my own hand, that person is going to be hard to get in the kingdom, because he's not giving credit to God. Then you have another person who gains riches and wealth, but then they know that God got them to that point, and then they use those riches and wealth to establish his covenant on earth. Those are two different mentalities, brothers and sisters. And those are two different scenarios where in one scenario, it'll be hard for that person to get into the kingdom. But in the other scenario, that person is going for the kingdom because they're trying to establish the covenant of God, right? So once again, this title of this lesson is Prophecy Is and Shall Be Fulfilled. But first of all, I want to give all honor and praise to the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Holy One of Israel, who is Jesus. I am Cassious Israel, aka Kazak Ben Yehuda. I represent the walls of Jericho, biblical and historical studies, Bruise in the Hood Entertainment. Got my reader here, big homie Yurp.
Shalom.
And once again, we're going to get right into this lesson, brothers and sisters. So let's see what we know is coming and what we have to get prepared for. Let's start at Daniel, the 12th chapter. Daniel, the 12th chapter.
This brother says shalom. Man, hey, man, Hebrew business, man.
All praises. All praises.
He just said shalom.
I thought he was going to turn around and say, you're supposed to say shalom, brother.
No.
No. But no, let's start this at Daniel, the 12th chapter. And once again, we know that this is coming. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We know that this is coming, right? Now, what we're also going to show is that getting rich just for your own sake, that's not the mindset that you should get at this point. You should be trying to use money to defend the oppressors trying to use money to oppress. And that's what we're going to get through. But at the end of the day, once this great tribulation comes, it's not going to matter if you're rich or poor. If you don't take the mark of the beast, you're not going to be able to buy. You're not going to be able to sell. Your business is not going to thrive. Everything that you're going to try to do to make money is not going to matter without that mark. And people have to understand that while we're going around talking about you need to get on business, you need to do this, that, and the third. Of course, a righteous man is not slothful in his business, right? So we know that. That's what the word said. However, when that person is trying to do what they're supposed to do, you should be trying to help them get through that. And that's what we want to understand with this lesson, right? So Daniel 12 and verse 1. Daniel 12 and verse 1, when you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people.
Go ahead.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time.
Right, so we know that this is great tribulation. Guess what? Israel gonna need some help. Israel is going to need help out of the captivity from their enemies, all of this stuff. So guess what? Being rich at this time is not really going to matter, right? Go ahead.
And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book of life.
That is what matters. You need to make sure that your behavior, make sure you're found written in the book, in that book, which is the book of life, so that you can be delivered and saved, right? So this is what we can look forward to and what our mindset and our aim should be. Verse 2, go ahead.
And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake.
Go ahead.
Some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
Everlasting life in the right side of the kingdom is the most important thing. That is more important than anything else you are trying to do. And if you don't understand that, you're going to fall by the wayside, right? Into everlasting contempt, right? Go ahead.
And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament.
Go ahead.
And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever
So
and ever.
Another thing that's important is for us, once we get ourselves together, as far as behavior-wise, to bring other people to righteousness, brothers and sisters, right? This must be done first and foremost, right? So this is the mentality that you should have even when establishing wealth. The wealth should be establishing the covenant of God, right? Verse 4, go ahead.
But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end.
Go ahead.
Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased.
Right, so we should not take verse 4 lightly, because the more that time goes on, this is another sign that the end is coming. Knowledge will be increasing. There'll be things that even our elders didn't have access to back in the day, that they and us have access to now. We need to understand that, right? Skip down to verse 8 and go ahead.
And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, Oh, my Lord, what shall be the end of these things?
Go ahead.
And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end.
So basically, he's talking about Revelations. That is for our time. That is for the time now. Of course, he didn't see any of that stuff, so he's not going to understand, well, what do you mean, like this, that, and the third? He's not going to understand it because he didn't see it. But we see it, and we're going to show it, some of the stuff in this lesson as well. Go ahead, my brother.
That was it.
Verse 10. Go to verse 10.
Verse 10. Many shall be purified, made white, and tried. But the wicked shall do wickedly.
Go ahead.
And none of the wicked shall understand.
Go ahead.
But the wise shall understand.
All right, so why does the wicked not understand, or why are they not going to understand versus the wise understanding? Let's go see that. Let's go to Psalms 111. Psalms 111. So remember, at this time, the righteous are going to be tried, right? And the wicked, they're just not going to understand, right? But once again, we're going to see why that is. Psalms 111. Psalms 111 and verse 9. Psalms 111 and verse 9. Psalms 111 and verse 9. Whenever you get that, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
He sent redemption unto his people.
Right, so we have to understand, he sent redemption to his people to redeem you from your sins, brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead.
He had commanded his covenant forever.
Right, and so this is what we're going to establish here on earth. Whether you want to be wealthy or not, you must have the mindset to establish his covenant on this earth, brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead. Holy
and reverend is his name.
Go ahead.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And this is the inheritance, one of the inheritance that you should want is wisdom. What do you got to start off with first, though? Fear. Right? Go ahead.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And good understanding have all they that do his commandments.
Go ahead.
His praise endureth forever.
Oh, so a good understanding is for the people that do his commandments. So why are the wicked not understanding? Because they're not doing the commandments, right? Simple as plain as that, right? So, and the first thing you should be thinking about is making sure you are keeping the covenant of God while you're here on earth, brothers and sisters, so that you can get to the kingdom, right? All right, now let's go to Proverbs 13. We're going to get into it now. So remember, your behavior must be in line first, and then everything else will follow after that. Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13 and verse 11. Proverbs 13 and verse 11. Proverbs 13 and verse 11. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished.
We need to really understand that wealth gotten by vanity shall diminish. So my thing is, if you're not working to keep up with the wealth, it's going to diminish. If you're out there doing it for reasons that's contrary to God, it's going to diminish. So all these people that got rich and all these people got wealthy, they're called merchants in the earth. It's not going to last, brothers and sisters, right? If you go out there and take their same route, it's not going to last. It's going to diminish, right? However, go ahead.
But he that gathereth by labor shall increase.
Right. So if you working hard, you should be able to establish some wealth, right? However, we tell this to the kids at our school, Israel School of Excellence Prep, is that you can't just go out there and just spend money just relentlessly, especially in these times. You have to save this money, and then you have to invest the money into accumulating assets, right? That is one of the things that they did not teach us in the schools, brothers and sisters. And that is also part of the crafty counsel. So remember, these merchants, they set up the school systems for you not to learn certain things, right? So once again, wealth gotten by vanity shall diminish, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. Skip down to verse 18 and go ahead.
Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction.
So if you don't want to listen, poverty and shame comes with that, right? So wealth gotten by vanity shall diminish, and poverty and shame comes to those that don't listen. Right? Go ahead.
But he that regardeth reproof shall be honored.
So if you are willing to be corrected and listen to sound instruction, you will be honored, or you shall be honored. And another thing that comes with riches and wealth that God gives you power to get is honor, brothers and sisters. We're going to see that in this lesson, right? Let's see. Skip down. No, keep going. My bad.
The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul.
Go ahead.
But it is an abomination of fools to depart from evil.
Right. So everything that you desire to want in your life, if you accomplish it, it's sweet to the soul. Here's a problem, though. If it's evil, it's an abomination to keep trying to hold on to that. Oh, man, that's good. Man, get in action, man. All right. So, once again, if you have desires that go contrary to God, it's an abomination if you're trying to accomplish it, brothers and sisters, right? What else? Verse 20, go ahead.
He that walketh with the wise men shall be wise.
Go ahead.
But a companion of fools shall be destroyed.
Right. So once again, poverty and shame comes to the companion and the fools, and destruction as well, brothers and sisters, right? If you got desires that you can't give up that are contrary to God, your wealth is going to diminish. All of this is part of each other, brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead.
Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid.
So evil pursueth sinners. So eventually, let's just say you're getting money, you're getting wealthy, but you're evil. It's going to pursue you at the end thereof. So when the end comes, you're not going to keep that wealth, brothers and sisters, right? You're not going to keep your health either, right? Because eventually the God is going to destroy you, right? Go ahead.
A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children.
Now this, we see here that obviously if this is in the word, brothers and sisters, from the wisest man in history, that a good man is going to be able to give his children an inheritance and his children's children. That means God should give him the power to do that, right? So we got to think about stuff like that, right? Here's another thing. Go ahead.
And the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just.
So all that wealth that these evil sinners are accumulating is stored up for the just. So this money is going to come back to the righteous regardless. And that is what you have to understand, right? So we know that towards the end, the wealth will come back overall to the righteous nation of Israel. However, that doesn't mean you can't accumulate it now, right? You just have to understand what you're supposed to do, right? And one of the things you're supposed to do, besides learning some financial literacy, is making sure you're doing it to establish the covenant of God, right? As a matter of fact, let's go see that. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter. Now, this is in the law, right? This is in the law. It shows you the mentality, the different mentality between the person that has wealth. Deuteronomy 8 and verse 16.
I do want to say this just as a disclaimer. This is not a prosperity lesson. Just want to say that because there's probably some Hebrews watching. But like, man, they started to do that. Prosperity. This is not a prosperity lesson.
All right. So what I want to show once again, thank you for saying that. What I want to show again, no, this is not a prosperity lesson. What we're going to show is the mentality to get wealth, But at the same time, what we're going to read in here, what are you going to do with it? The prosperity teacher is not telling you to establish the laws and covenants of God. They're telling you the laws is done away with. That is not the same thing that we're going over today. What we're going to show is that even though God gives you the power to get wealth, you got to have a certain mentality. And we're going to see that all these prices, the inflation and things like that, these are signs that we're also getting to the end, brothers and sisters. What we're also going to do is show the major war that we should be paying attention to, which is the two mountains of brass, which is the east and the west. We're going to pay attention to that as well, brothers and sisters, right? So Deuteronomy 8 and verse 16. Deuteronomy 8 and verse 16. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
Who fed thee in the wilderness with manna?
Go ahead.
Which thy fathers knew not.
Go ahead.
That he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee to do thee good at thy latter end.
So this is going to show that God can feed you anywhere. He can drop bread out of the sky to feed you, right? However, he's going to do certain things to prove you and humble you, because at the end of the day, without God, you're nothing. You're just nothing, brothers and sisters, right? So you must be humble, but you also have to be proven to see if you're going to be that righteous individual that he needs to establish his covenant, right? We're going to see that in a minute. Go ahead.
And thou say in thine heart.
So now, this is one of the mentalities. You should never say this, brothers and sisters. Otherwise, once again, your wealth is going to diminish, right? Go ahead.
And thou say in thine heart, my power and the might of mine hand had gotten me this wealth.
That is the wrong attitude to have. That is why a rich person, that's why it's hard for a rich person to get in the kingdom, because most likely he has that mentality, brothers and sisters, right? The power and the might in mine hand, or that person's hand, has gotten them this wealth. Not God, but them, right?
I just want to lay a confession out. I did this once. Back in the days, I had 3 cars. And I looked at these cars and I was like, man, I did this. I wasn't even thinking. And I'm in the truth, though. I'm in this word. And I'm like, man, I did this. Man, about a year later, they was all gone. I'm back catching the train, walking to the train station and stuff. And when I started changing my attitude about that Lord is giving me and Lord is giving me, I got 3 cars again. You know what I'm saying? So don't say in your heart, I did all this. Man, the Lord is the one that did this for me.
Exactly. And so that is my point. He just confirmed with his testimony that what we just read in Proverbs 13, if you're doing this in vanity, brothers and sisters, it will diminish. So all this work you did just to turn around and say, I did all of this. Oh, let me take all of that back. And until you get the right attitude, you will not get it back, right? However, what should you be saying? Verse 18, go ahead.
But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth.
Ooh, read that again.
But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth.
It's the God that gives you the power to get wealth, right? But what are you supposed to do with that wealth? Go ahead.
That he may establish his covenant, which he sware unto thy fathers, as it is this day.
So he's giving you this wealth so that he may establish his covenant. And that's what your mindset should be on, right? You got to establish the covenant of God. That means that you got to be obedient. That means you got to keep the commandments. Otherwise, you're not going to get it, brothers and sisters, right? Unless you get it from Satan. That's the only other way you can get it, is getting it through Satan. He'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. But what if you die the next day after you making the agreement with Satan? See, that's all of this stuff that you have to remember, brothers and sisters, right? All right, let's see an example of that. Let's go to 2 Chronicles, the 1st chapter. So, of course, we have a great example, which is Solomon. He is, once again, the wisest man in history and the wealthiest man in history. And he had a mentality before he even got that wealth, brothers and sisters. And we're going to see what that mentality is. 2 Chronicles, the 1st chapter. 2 Chronicles, the 1st chapter. And we're going to start at verse 9. 2 Chronicles, the 1st chapter. And we're going to start at verse 9. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
Now, O Lord God, let thy promise unto David, my father, be established.
That is part of the covenant, right? So he's already got the right mind frame, right? Go ahead.
For thou hast made me king over a people, like the dust of the earth in multitude.
All right, so what did Solomon ask for? And then in exchange, what did he get? Go ahead.
Give me now wisdom and knowledge.
Give me wisdom and knowledge, first and foremost. Give me wisdom and knowledge. Go ahead.
That I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people that is so great?
So he's thinking about the will of God first. He's not thinking about riches and wealth and all of that first. He's thinking about God. So he said, give me now wisdom and knowledge that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people that is so great? Go ahead.
And God said to Solomon, because this was in thine heart.
Because this was in your heart, right? Go ahead.
And thou hast not asked riches, wealth, or honor.
Right, because most than likely, if you ask for it, it's for self-gratification, right? You're not trying to use it to establish God's will on earth, right? Go ahead.
Nor the life of thine enemies. Neither yet ask long life.
Go ahead.
But has asked wisdom and knowledge for thyself.
Why did he ask for wisdom and knowledge for himself? Was it just for himself? Go ahead.
That thou mayest judge the people, judge my people,
go ahead,
over whom I have made thee king.
He did it so he can judge the people righteously. That is the will of God. That is the covenant, or establishing the covenant of God, right? Verse 12, go ahead.
Wisdom and knowledge is granted unto thee.
Go ahead.
And I will give thee riches and wealth and honor.
Go ahead.
Such as none of the kings have had that have been before thee.
Go ahead.
Neither shall any after thee have the like.
All right, so I don't want anybody trying to get the riches and wealth that Solomon got. He already established that nobody before or after him is going to get that type of wealth. Right. However, that doesn't mean that you can't use this stuff to defend yourself from the oppressors. This is what we're about to get into in a minute. Right. All right, let's continue. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter. Now, once again, notice that Solomon asked for wisdom and knowledge to judge the people of God. Right. To make sure he is on point with the people of God. Right. And that is what we need to be searching after, brothers and sisters. Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 8. Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, and verse 8. So this is the other side of the mentality, the negative side, the evil side, right? Go ahead.
If thou seest the oppression of the poor,
go ahead,
and violent perverting of judgment and justice in the province,
go ahead,
marvel not at the matter.
Don't go crazy, or don't be astonished at it, right? Why is that? Go ahead.
For he that is higher than the highest regarded, and there be higher than they.
Meaning God sees it all, brothers and sisters, right? And he's going to deal with the oppressors of the earth, right? Go ahead.
Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all.
The profit of the earth is for all. So people out here getting greedy and trying to hide all the wealth for themselves. It says the profit of the earth is for all, right? Go ahead.
The king himself is served by the field.
And that's what Solomon was trying to become, right, brothers and sisters, right? Because the king has got to be a servant to his people, or to the field, brothers and sisters, right? So he's not going to try to hide all the wealth for himself. But that is what the kings of the earth now are doing, right? Go ahead.
He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver.
That's why you don't want to get caught up in gaining riches for yourself, because you will not be satisfied even when you get it, right? Go ahead.
Nor he that loveth abundance with increase.
Go ahead.
This is also vanity.
Right, so if you're doing it for this reason, it's going to diminish. We're going to point back to these things to get people to understand that wealth gotten by vanity, wealth gotten by you saying that you are the one that got this by your own power and by your own hand, all of that stuff is going to diminish, brothers and sisters, right? You need to be gaining wealth in order to keep God's covenant, right? That is what you want to do, right? Go ahead, verse 11.
When goods increase, they are increased that eat them.
Go ahead.
And what good is there to the owner thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes?
You got so much money, right? You don't even need it no more, but you got so much money because you got your goods have increased, all these things. But what good is that except you just watching all that money with your own eyes, right? You're supposed to be. Where's the charity at, right? You just storing all the goods and increasing in goods, but you're not trying to establish the laws of God.
A lot of people in the world like this.
It's a lot of people like that, and you don't want to be the person like that, brothers and sisters, right? Verse 12, go ahead.
The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat a little or much.
Go ahead.
But the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep.
So you got so much, you ain't even getting no sleep. You got to work all this, you got to work all this time. You not even getting no sleep, brothers and sisters, right? That's how bad it can get if your mind is just on getting rich, right? Go ahead, verse 13.
There is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun.
Go ahead.
Namely riches, kept for the owners thereof to their hurt.
Right, so this is the mentality that Christ was talking about in a rich man. It's hard for a rich man to get in the kingdom if his mentality is like this, brothers and sisters. He ain't got God in him. He not worried about establishing his covenant on earth. He just in it for himself, right? Go ahead, my brother. 14.
For those riches perish by evil travail.
Those riches will perish by evil travail. God gonna send something after you where those riches will perish. Now you didn't work all this time, got the wrong mentality. Now you don't even have those same riches anymore, right? Go ahead.
And he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand.
Right. However, there's a flip side to this, which is a really good news for us, right? Skip down to verse 18 and go ahead.
Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and to drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he had taken under the sun, all the days of his life, which God giveth him, for it is his portion.
Right, so it's good to, hey, I've worked for this. I worked hard for my wealth through my labor, and I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to have a good time when it's time to do that, right? It's nothing wrong with that. That is from God, right? Let's see what else is from God. Verse 19.
Every man also to whom God had given riches and wealth.
Who did it say gave man riches?
Every man.
Who did it say gave man riches and
God.
wealth? God did. So we want to understand God will do that, but you got to have that mentality like Solomon, though. That's how he got it, right? Go ahead.
And had given him power to eat thereof.
All right, so that's another thing we're going to see is that you can gain the riches and wealth, but God can stop you from benefiting from it. And we're going to see that in a minute. Go ahead.
And to take his portion and to rejoice in his labor.
Go ahead.
This is the gift of God.
So remember, if you are trying to help and judge the people righteously in God, brothers and sisters, when you get those riches and wealth, that is a gift from God, right? However, let's see the flip side. Let's go to the next chapter, Ecclesiastes 6 and verse 1. Ecclesiastes 6 and verse 1. Whenever you get there, my brother, go ahead and read.
There is an evil which I have seen under the sun.
Go ahead.
And it is common among men.
What is that? Go ahead.
A man to whom God had given riches, wealth, and honor.
Go ahead.
So that he wanted nothing for his soul of all that he desired.
Right, and when you get the things you desire and you accomplish them, that is sweet to the soul, right? But if you can't depart from evil, it's an abomination, brothers and sisters, right? You got to understand that. Go ahead.
Yeah, God giveth him not power to eat thereof.
Man, God can give you this wealth, but not give you power to benefit from it. That's why you have to understand, if I'm doing this through vanity, it's going to diminish. It's nothing, brothers and sisters. Now, who will get the power to eat if you're not on point with God? Go ahead.
But a stranger eateth it.
Go ahead.
This is vanity, and it is an evil disease.
What's crazy, brothers and sisters, is that's Israel. Israel did not follow God. Israel was the top nation that God put on this earth, gave them riches and wealth and things of that nature, brothers and sisters. But guess what? A stranger now eating it. We got to understand that God can put you in this situation while you're thinking about yourself and not the people of God, right? All right, let's continue.
Message.
All right, let's continue. Let's go to Proverbs 30. Once again, this is also the mentality that you should have going back to Solomon. And it's good because, once again, he was the wealthiest man in history. But look at his mentality. We got to understand that. Proverbs 30 and verse 8. Proverbs 30 and verse 8. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
Remove far from me vanity and lies.
Yes. So that goes back to if you're gaining wealth through vanity, it will diminish. So he's saying, remove far from me these vanities and these lies, right? These lies, right? Go ahead.
Give me neither poverty nor riches.
So I don't want to be poor or I don't want to be rich. This is what Solomon said. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be rich. I want to be somewhere in the middle, which is comfortable. I just want to be comfortable, right? And so this is what we're going to show is that you need to work hard just to be comfortable, especially in these times coming up, brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead.
Feed me with food, convenient for me.
Go ahead.
Lest I be full and deny thee.
So I can have so much that I'll just start denying God. And that is what the rich of the earth, they are denying God through their actions, brothers and sisters, right? They got so much, they're so full, and they're doing it through vanity that they're denying God, brothers and sisters, right? However, let's look at the flip side. Go ahead.
Lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain.
So if you don't work to at least be comfortable, guess what you're going to end up doing when you're poor? Stealing, which is breaking the laws of God. Now, on the other side, if you got too much, what you're going to end up doing? Denying God. And then you're going to end up saying, who is the Lord? Right? That is what Israel did, right? Because we got full and then we start kicking against God, brothers and sisters, right? So we got to understand this is not the mentality that we should have. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 7.
Don't forget about if you have these riches and you have nothing to do, you'll start doing evil stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got all this money. I can do this evil stuff.
Right.
Israel was doing that too.
Israel was definitely doing that. Now, what is the money for? This is what you should understand now. What is the money for? So I can have the mentality to use it for this reason, right? Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 11. Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 11. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
Wisdom is good with an inheritance.
So once again, there go that wisdom again. I got to have wisdom. First, what is the ultimate wisdom I should have? The fear of the Lord, right? That's the beginning of wisdom, right? Now, for wisdom, wisdom is good with an inheritance, right? Go ahead.
And by it there is profit to them that see the sun.
All right, go ahead.
For wisdom is a defense.
Wisdom is a defense, but what else is a defense? Go ahead.
And money is a defense.
That's what it's for. It's to defend you for getting in that place where I'm either going to steal because I'm too poor, but I also don't want too much because I'll deny God, right? So that's where wisdom comes in. You have to have wisdom first, and then money should come after that, right? However, at the end of the day, what is it really about? Go ahead.
But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
Wisdom gives life. And that is what you should be striving after, brothers and sisters. The wisdom of God first. If I have the wisdom of God, God is going to direct my steps. I'll establish the covenant of God. And guess what? Then he wants to give me power to get wealth. That is the rich man that can get into the kingdom, brothers and sisters, right? And so we want to understand, we really want to understand that, because if we don't, we'll go out here, we'll try to work hard, we'll get all his wealth, and then it'll diminish.
Yep. And he give it to all man liberally.
Liberally, right? So now let's get into what is going to happen in the future, right? That makes it to where if you're just getting wealth by vanity, it's really not going to matter. And this is what we have to defend ourselves from that's coming up. Let's go to Revelations, the 6th chapter. So once again, prophecy is and shall be fulfilled. We're going to show how the economy is getting worse, that we are going to really need help, and we're going to really have to work hard just to be in that middle ground of not being too rich and not being too poor. That is what the mentality you're going to have to develop. And then when you're going to work and you're trying to feed your families and things like that, even to the point of satisfying your spouse, you're going to have to do this while these people are oppressing you and while these people are conspiring to make sure you stay poor. We got to understand that, and we're gonna need each other's help, y'all. because this stuff is finna get serious, right? I know people would sit here and say, man, I used to go to the grocery store and pay $100 for something.
Oh, God.
Now I pay $200 and some dollars, and it's going to get worse.
It's already worse.
It's already worse, going to get even more worse, right? Revelation 6 and verse 5. Revelation 6 and verse 5. Whenever you get that, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say,
Go ahead.
Come and see.
Go ahead.
And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand.
Now, there's been a lot of talks about whether these seals are open or not, but this is not what we're here for. We know that they're going to open, and when it gets to the third seal, we know that this is dealing with the merchants of the earth having control of the money supply. That is what's coming, brothers and sisters. What we're going to do is we're going to see that the transition getting to this point is happening now, right? And that's what we're going to get into, right? Now, once again, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard a third beast say, Come and see, and behold, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. This is the merchants of the earth. This is the merchants, the ones that are using money to oppress. That's why he had a pair of balances in his hand. He controls the money supply. So since he controls the money supply, what is happening? Because these evil people are controlling the money supply. Go ahead, verse 6.
And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say,
Go ahead.
A measure of wheat for a penny.
Go ahead.
And 3 measures of barley for a penny.
Go ahead.
And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.
That's inflation. That is inflation. Prices are skyrocketing. This gap between the rich and the poor is getting further and further apart. That means the farther it gets apart, it's going to be that much harder for you to get wealthy.
It sounds like famine too.
And it's going to create a famine, right? Inflation creates a famine, right? Because prices are skyrocketing. That means that demand going to be high, but the supply going to be low. Brothers and sisters, right? And so that is what's going to happen whenever this third seal opens, right? So we want to understand that's what's coming, and you have to prepare yourself for what's coming. You cannot be slothful in business talking about you're a righteous person. You can't sit here and be like, oh, well, godliness, contentment is great gain. That's for a person that's not slothful in business, though. You can't go out here and just, I'm going to sit on the couch and wait for God to give me money. That's not going to work, brothers and sisters.
Sound good.
Right? That's vanity, right? And you're not going to get wealth by that, right? You're not even going to be comfortable doing that. You're going to be poor. And eventually, what does a poor man do? He steals, right? Which is going against the laws of God, right? All right, let's go confirm that the balances is talking about money. Let's go to Leviticus, the 19th chapter. Leviticus, the 19th chapter.
And again, disclaimer, this is not a prosperity lesson. It's a lesson about economics. Got to put that in here.
Right, because y'all be, look at them on there talking about how to get money. God don't care about money. Even though we read and God gives you the power to get this, God doesn't care about money. Well, God cares about you not getting so poor that you'll steal, or not getting so rich that you'll deny him. Right? God, go ahead.
It's simply about the mindset of the man who gets the money.
Right. Notice that it's about the mindset. Notice it's about you defending yourself from the people that got the wrong mindset. You're defending yourself from these oppressors. You're defending yourself from these merchants that have these balances in their hand, right? And once again, we're going to watch some videos to really explain what we're talking about, right? What did I say?
Leviticus 19.
Okay, Leviticus 19 and verse 35. Leviticus 19 and verse 35. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
Go ahead.
And measure and weight or in measure.
Right, talking about money, brothers and sisters. So when you hire somebody, You're not supposed to do any unrighteousness in judgment, right? That's why your mentality has to be like that, because you'll own a business and then don't want to pay your employees what they're supposed to be paid. That is what these merchants of the earth are doing, brothers and sisters, right? What does he want you to have? Go ahead.
Just balance. Just weight. A just ephah. And a just hand.
Go ahead.
Shall ye have.
You're going to make sure that you paying people fairly, right? Go ahead.
I am the Lord your God, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt.
So you in your captivity, but then you gonna oppress somebody else with a unjust balance, right? That is sin, brothers and sisters. That is an abomination, actually, right? So once again, just balances, just weights, a just ephah, and a just hand dealing with money shall ye have, right? You're going to make sure you're being fair with the monetary, with your money, right? And if you have employees, you're going to be fair with paying them off. Let's go see Lord tell us that this is an abomination if you're not doing this, right? Let's go to Proverbs 11. Proverbs 11. Once again, I thought that this was going to be really beneficial because people are going to start really feeling it. You should feel it now, but you're really going to feel it, I'll say about 5-10 years from now. We're really going to be in the thick of some things, brothers and sisters, right? Proverbs 11, and we're going to start at verse 1.
We should be feeling some of it now besides just the high prices, but there are stores closing down. There was a grocery store up the street from me. They closed down. Now I got to go all the way to Walmart on the other side of town. You know, these things are happening. If you going in your store and you hardly seeing anything on the shelves, at least a year, that store is about to close down.
Right.
And then it's ships not even getting over here for it. They getting stunk down over there.
So remember, if you go back to the lesson we did on the Wake Up Show, the beginning of sorrows, if you go back to that, we showed the famine is already in progress. We showed the earthquakes is already in progress. We showed people that were being affected, even financially, when it came to the COVID, brothers and sisters, right? All of that is in process. We're in the beginning of sorrows, and time is going on, and it's going to eventually get worse, right? Proverbs 11 and verse 1. Proverbs 11 and verse 1. Whenever you get there, you can go ahead and read.
A false balance is an abomination to the Lord.
Go ahead.
But a just weight is his delight.
Right. So once again, you at work and you know that your employer, the company that you're working for, they not doing you right. But guess what? That wealth is stored up for the just. Don't even worry about it. Right? God is going to have recompense on the evil merchants of the world. Right? Skip down to verse 4 and go ahead.
Riches profit not in the day of wrath.
Right. So once again, when this time comes, your riches ain't going to profit you. This is how you know we're not doing a prosperity doctrine, because riches will not profit you in the day of wrath. Prosperity preachers trying to make it seem like everything gonna be all good as long as you got some money. No, that is not what we're doing here, right? However, what is going to deliver you from the wrath of God? Go ahead.
Righteousness delivered from death.
Righteousness is going to deliver you from the wrath of God, not riches. However, you still need to work in order to defend yourself from these evil merchants, brothers and sisters, especially the ones that have the balances in their hand, right? We got to understand this so that when we start seeing the transition go into the beast system, that's what we're going to show as well. When that transition goes completely into the beast system, you have to be prepared. What if you don't make it to the place of safety? What are you going to do? Right? That's why your mind got to be right. Because once again, once you get to that point, riches is not going to matter, right? All right, let's continue. Let's go to Hosea, the 12th chapter. Hosea, the 12th chapter.
I got a question.
Yes.
So you know how we have Christmas bonuses?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We know that the company is holding back money, and at the end of the year, they want to give it to you as a Christmas bonus.
Right.
That's what the Lord is doing.
Yeah, I mean,
a salvation bonus.
A
if you
salvation,
think of it.
Straight up salvation. I'm holding this till you get yourself together, and then I'm gonna give it to you, right? And as long as your behavior ain't right, I'm not gonna give you no type of wealth, because guess what? If I get too much and my mindset ain't right, I'm gonna deny God, right? And so we gotta understand this. Hosea 12 and verse 7. Hosea 12 and verse 7. So we're going to explain who has the balances in their hand. Verse 7, go ahead.
He is a merchant. The balances of deceit are in his hand.
That's what is in his hand, the balances of deceit. This is talking about Israel, but this is the same mentality of the oppressor. We were doing it. We were oppressing our own people, just like our priests and our prophets. They were doing that for money, brothers and sisters. And they were charging usury, which is what these rich people doing now. They charge you interest. If I lend you money, I want interest back. That is usury. That's a sin. That is how they are getting so much money. That is deceitful, right? What else does this merchant that has the balance of the deceit in his hand, what does he like to do? Go ahead. Or love to do. Go ahead.
He loveth to oppress.
He loves to oppress. So you have to defend yourself with your money. You have to defend yourself from this oppressive merchant, right? Verse 8. Go ahead.
Speaking of merchants, what are those places called that's in our hood? They loan you money,
It's called a bank.
Yeah. No, not a bank. Not a bank.
What?
It's I wish I can remember like some of the company's name, but they loan you the money, but the interest be like 80%.
Oh man.
You know, that's like a big sin. So they're coming in our neighborhoods with this thing.
Right. And this is what we got. So if you're not recognizing that, once again, you're not recognizing that God can give you this wealth, but you're not recognizing that these merchants have the balances. They have the power to deceive you with the wealth by oppressing you.
Payday loans and stuff like that.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
They extorting people.
They extorting. They definitely doing that. They extorting people, right?
Right.
Now, look at the mentality though, right? Even though this is talking about Ephraim, but it's the same mentality, right? Go ahead. Verse 8.
Wait, verse 8. And Ephraim said, yet I am become rich, and have found me out substance.
Go ahead.
In all my labors they shall find none iniquity in me that were sin.
That's he lying to himself, thinking that he's not committing sin, but he's oppressing the people with these balances in his hand. He has the power to control the money. And when they have power to control the money and they're doing it deceitfully, that's when you have all this inflation. That's why you have all these high interest rates and things of that nature. That's why you can barely survive in this world, right? And once again, your labor going to have to pick up just to catch up from what the oppressor is doing to you. That's happening, brothers and sisters, right? That is being fulfilled, right? Now, let's go watch this video, and we're going to see these people. They know that this stuff is happening, and the warnings are going out. Let's check this out.
Another thing that came out, and it said that total assets held by the top 1%, if the top 1% wealth had kept pace with inflation, it would be 4.3 trillion. And so you can see what's going on. It's insane. So what it's trying to say is that the rich keep getting richer. Okay, and okay, yeah, wow. So the American Thinker had a nice article, if you want to read the whole thing, and I think it broke down a few things that maybe tells us where this is going. So from 2007 to 2016, the net worth of the richest Americans increased by 20%, while the lower 80% decreased by the same percentage, widening the wealth gap considerably. So that means you and I got worse, okay? Now, this is not some Marxist tactic that the American Thinker is trying to say and, come against the elites. It's not trying to say that. It's trying to say that the system now is eliminating the middle class. It has its target on the middle class. And basically, it's making everyone poor except the elite. That's what's going on. That's what's being generated. So it continues on. It says, increasingly wealthy globalists pressured the government, and now the top 1% own over half of the U.S. wealth, while the top quintile owns 94% of the wealth. The bottom 80% have their wealth tied up in their homes or vehicles, and most suffer from chronic debt. So this gap keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and 1% own half the wealth of the United States. Interesting. I want you to pay attention to the gap, okay? the wealth gap concentrates ownership in a small group of people, and so it does to industry as well. More and more large corporations, as you guys are seeing, are dominating, right? The mom and pop sector is going out, right? You know, you have the fast food chains like Chili's or whatever, and they're doing that. But if you have a private restaurant, you're not doing too good. That's what it's trying to say. As small companies suffer and are saddled with increasing regulations, larger corporations benefit from the monopoly of power, less competition, and the ability to set prices artificially high if they want to. And that's what we're watching. Whether, you know, remember, you know, you used to have a hardware store, you know, and versus Home Depot or versus Lowe's, and you just had a mom and pop hardware store. Well, that guy's out of business now because Home Depot and Lowe's has got him beat, but that's corporatism, right? So this is what's starting to happen on every level almost, okay? So here's the interesting thing. The wider the wealth gap goes, the more our social and political fabric will deteriorate. How is that? So the bigger the gap between the elites and us, the more politically and socially our country degenerates. Why? I mean, I understand economically how we did generate, but it's trying to say, no, you don't understand. When they have all the money, it will corrupt the society morally and politically when they have all the money. What do you mean? How so? Since I thought we're just talking about economics. It's because of this. If you look at the wealthiest people in the world, they are not Christians. A lot of them are atheists, agnostics, whatever you want to call them. They're globalist elites. They want to rule the world, and they're imposing their version of morality on us.
All right, so y'all see what's going on here, right? So this is a plan that they have in order to keep us down, brothers and sisters. Once again, this is going to lead all the way to when we know those seals are breaking open. This is going to lead all the way to that point where these merchants are going to have the money supply in their hand. But we're going to keep watching these videos to let you know this stuff is happening. One thing I do want to impose, you're going to hear a lot about the America and the United States and things like that. I just want to say, once we get into showing Babylon and all of that, we are not saying America is Babylon. We're just showing that this is, you could see it actually starting. America still being the powerhouse of the world right now, but they're going to go down and eventually the EU is going to come up. That is what we're going to eventually see later on in time. All right, let's look at this from the World Economic Forum.
Well, the World Economic Forum has finally admitted what we've been saying here on the show. The US dollar is about to change forever. That's right. We knew that CBDCs were rolling out central bank digital currencies, but this week we heard directly from Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum that in fact 98% of central banks are preparing to launch CBDCs. Again, this right from the mouth of the World Economic Forum. After all, this is their plan. They've wanted to take away control of the monetary system, get it out of the hands of individual sovereign governments, individuals, and put it in the hands of Wall Street and sort of and larger banks. Now, when you have to understand the central bank structure in the United States, it's controlled by Wall Street. This is the goal, is to allow those big multinationals to control the money supply, get it out of the hands of the U.S. Treasury. Take that power away from Janet Yellen and the U.S. Treasury. Take it away from individual governments. Put it in the hands of a few massively large banks. And this all comes on the same week that we also saw more bank collapses in the United States, more seizures of banks, and massive amounts of U.S. deposits drying up in banks. See how this happens? All of these smaller banks get gobbled up by the big guys. So the JP Morgans, you have the Wells Fargos, Bank of America, you have Deutsche Bank, and these few massive large banks control the entire process. So let's go through what the World Economic Forum is saying here, which is startling, but we knew this was coming. So get ready, guys, to have like no cash anymore. Get ready to have a digital ID, a digital wallet that will control everything. Now, I know some of you might be saying, that's fake news. Well, frankly, you don't know what you're talking about. I've been studying and tracking this for a very long time. I point you to my deep dive interviews here with Whitney Webb, who's one of the foremost authorities on tracking all of the structure of these CBDCs. And it's startling. The control is coming, guys. I mean, think about their ability to track everything you're doing through a digital ID on your phone. Okay, they'll be able to watch your carbon footprint. Oh, you've traveled too much this month. So no, you are not allowed to buy gasoline anymore for this month until the calendar resets for the month because you've driven to see grandma too many times, or you've been on the road too much, or you've flown too much, or you've bought too much meat, right? This is the ridiculousness that we're currently facing right now, but they'll be able to track every transaction. And of course, they want everything then tied to the blockchain. This is the tokenization of every asset, farmland, everything in the United States. So they will be controlling everything and watching everything. It is coming. This is the dream. Now, they've already rolled this out in Ukraine. You remember, Ukraine is really a testing ground for a lot of this. They rolled this out using what's known as the DIA app. Okay, DIA was an app that was built by USAID, USAID, and the United States government, and of course with the help of the World Economic Forum, to put this into a test bed process where everything can pay right with your phone in Ukraine, track everything. You can even rat on your neighbors. That's right, built inside the application. This is like 1984 level stuff here, guys. And we don't know how all of this is going to come together, but we do know the goal. The goal is total control. The goal is to get rid of cash. The goal is to make sure that every transaction is monitored and controlled through a central system that is all digital.
All right, so as you can see, brothers and sisters, this stuff, as like he said, it's coming. Right. And what I'm showing is the transition. Right. So some of us, we really want to focus on what's going to happen all the way at the end. But I want to give options for people that want to see this stuff now. Like me, I want to see this stuff now so I can prepare my behavior as far as God. This makes me be like, you know what? Let me get all the little stuff that I need to get, myself together, because this right here is smacking me in my face. I don't know about y'all, but this stuff is smacking me in my face, and I want to make sure I'm right with God, but I also don't want to get caught in this gap where I'm too poor to actually defend myself, right? And so we have to understand that as well. All right, so what we're going to also look at is the Fed, right? So that was the World Economic Forum. We're now going to see what the Federal Reserve, all the merchants, these are merchants. So once again, let me spell this out before you play this video. A merchant is somebody that could be a banker, a business person, a financier, entrepreneur, anybody that is dealing with money just in general, right? And gaining money and selling products, borrowing and lending money, things like that. Those are all merchants, brothers and sisters, right? So as you see these videos, they're talking about the merchants of the earth. I just want to point that out.
The United States economy is absolutely caught between a rock and a hard place right now. The Fed is absolutely screwed right now, and they know it. And now we're hearing from some of the Fed governors, which are sort of quietly admitting the truth. They just admitted that the US dollar is about to change in a big way over the next few months. Pay attention to what's happening. So a couple of big news stories to get to that will directly affect your family and your finances in the next few months. So you better pay attention to this. Okay, right before the Memorial Day weekend, Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase, the largest bank in the world, fired off a shot heard around the world. He issued an ominous warning about the U.S. economy. It made headlines everywhere. And when the most influential banker in America talks, it's wise to listen. Whether you agree with his politics or not, it doesn't matter. Jamie Dimon said he cannot rule out a hard landing for the U.S. economy. For those unfamiliar, of course, a hard landing is an abrupt and severe economic slowdown, followed then by a period of rapid growth. So in simple terms, it's a crash, okay? It's a crash. And who gets hurt the most in a crash? Yeah, middle class and lower class individuals. That's who gets hurt. Dimon, of course, is being very candid, admitting that anyone who reads history knows there's a good chance of a crash coming. And that's not all. Dimon went on to say that the worst possible scenario for the United States economy is stagflation.
So I look at the range of outcomes, and again, the worst outcome for all of us is what I call stagflation. higher rates, a recession, that means corporate profits will go down, and we'll get through all of that. I mean, the world will survive that, but I just think the odds are a little bit higher than other people think.
Of course, stagflation is a nightmare scenario where inflation keeps rising, unemployment stays high, economic growth stalls out. It's the perfect storm that economists, of course, dread. And in fact, they dread it more than a recession. That's why Diamond says what's happening in America reminds him of the stagflation of the 1970s in America. It was a devastating period for Americans, and it could do so again. Stocks would plummet, hitting 401ks, retirement savings particularly hard. Adding to this gloomy picture, JP Morgan's own internal analysts are forecasting market volatility, despite the stock market reaching record highs this year. They warn it could become very unstable very soon. The S&P 500, for instance, could fall by 20%, they say, by the end of the year. 20%. That's according to JP Morgan's chief market strategist. That is a significant drop, and it could wipe out a lot of gains that people have been relying on for their financial security. Imagine if you're about to retire and your 401k gets wiped out by 20%. Sound familiar? 2008, 2009 all over again? People who were ready for retirement, and then because of the crash, their entire retirement was wiped out and they had to continue working and never were able to retire. Let's be clear about what this means. If we face a hard landing or stagflation, the stock market will take a hit. Your 401k, your retirement savings, your investments, all of them at risk. This isn't fear-mongering. This is coming straight from the top bankers and strategists who are seeing the warning signs right now. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? But this is not just Jamie Dimon who's worried. It's the Fed. They are now admitting that they don't know what to do right now. The past week, during the Federal Reserve's meeting, they admitted that they're growing more concerned about inflation, with no immediate plans to cut interest rates.
Now that's crazy that now we got the World Economic Forum and the Fed don't know what to do. They see this stuff is coming, brothers and sisters, and it's just a warning to us, right? Now, regardless if all the technicalities and stuff actually happen as they say is going to happen, what we know is we know that those seals going to open, and we know that the merchants of the earth, they are going to have the balances. They are going to have the money supply, and it's going to be deceitful and oppressive, and interest rates going to be too high. Inflation is going to be high, and it's going to get really bad economically, brothers and sisters. Right?
He said it himself that we gonna get through it. You know what I'm saying? But the odds is higher than people were expecting.
Who's gonna get through it though?
Right.
The people of God.
Absolutely.
That have the mentality that we just showed. They're going to get through it. The ones that are righteous and are tried. See, this trying period is coming, brothers and sisters. It's really coming. But once again, the wicked don't do wickedly. And they're not going to understand what is going on, right? And that wealth is going to be stored up for the just. That is the motivation that we know and have in the future, brothers and sisters. So you got to work. We showing you that you have to work to defend yourself. In the future, you're going to have to work even harder than you're working now. This is just a warning, right? All right, so now let's go to Revelations 18. Revelations 18. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into the East and the West, Babylon, Mystery Babylon the Great, and Russia and our allies going to war with each other at the end. We're going to eventually get into that, right? So Revelations 18 and verse 1. Revelations 18 and verse 1. This is also coming, which even though we're just gonna have to go through this stuff, but you're gonna have to maintain your faith. Your faith gonna have to get even stronger as we're going through this stuff. But we know what will be fulfilled or shall be fulfilled as well. Revelations 18 and 1. Go ahead.
After these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
Go ahead.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying,
Go ahead.
Babylon the Great is fallen,
Go ahead.
and has become the habitation of devils,
Go ahead.
and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Go ahead.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
All right, so we know this is talking about the Catholic Church as well. But once again, the nations have drunk the wine of the wrath for fornication, right? They're all in the idolatry of the Catholic Church. The kings are all in the idolatry of the Catholic Church. Who else is benefiting, though? Go ahead.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
There go those merchants again, brothers and sisters, right? And they are doing it by deceitful work. You are going to have to defend yourself from these merchants. You are going to have to be in line with God so that he can bless you monetarily for you to defend yourself, not for you to be have self-gratification, not for you to say, hey, I got this wealth through the power of my own hand. He's giving you that so you can defend yourself, but you need to be trying to establish his covenant. You need to be trying to bring people into righteousness, and you need to be trying to go and run towards that resurrection. That is what you need to be doing while you're defending yourself from these oppressors, right? Verse 4, go ahead.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sin.
Don't be out here letting people borrow money and then say, hey, you need to give me interest, right? That is what those merchants are doing. That is why they're waxing rich through the abundance of Babylon's delicacies, brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead.
And that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven.
Go ahead.
And God had remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you.
Go ahead.
And double unto her double according to her work.
Go ahead.
In the cup which she had filled, fill to her double.
Right, so Babylon is in trouble, right? And if you don't come out of her, if you don't come out of that mentality, you're going to be in trouble as well, brothers and sisters, trying to get riches and wealth, right? Skip down to verse 9 and go ahead.
And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her.
Right, so it's going to come to an end, brothers and sisters, while you out there chasing riches and vanity, right? And not trying to use the money to defend yourself or establish God's covenant. That is going to come to an end, right? Go ahead.
When they shall see the smoke of her burning.
It's all going to be burnt down to the ground, brothers and sisters, right? Verse 10, go ahead.
Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come.
Right, so that's great tribulation, brothers and sisters. That is going to happen during great tribulation. Once again, if you're trying to get rich and follow what these merchants of Babylon are doing, it's going to come crashing down. You're going to be crying just like everybody else, and the judgment of Babylon, you're going to get caught up in, right? Verse 11, go ahead.
And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her.
Why is that? Go ahead.
For no man buyeth their merchandise anymore.
So it's not going to matter. It's really not going to matter. To get so caught up on money, it's not going to matter. Other than the things that we've mentioned, it's not going to matter, brothers and sisters, right? Go ahead.
The merchandise of gold and of silver and precious stones and of pearls and of fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet. And all thine wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels most precious wood, and of brass and of iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour and wheat, and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots, and slaves and souls of men.
Oh, so these merchants getting paid off slaves too, right? Oh, but didn't God Christ said he was going to come and he was going to release these slaves and prisoners and things of that nature, brothers and sisters, right? So eventually Babylon tumbles down, the prisoners get released, the slaves get released. But then it says souls of men, right? So that means religions are not going to have that power anymore because they're also waxing rich off making you into merchandise, right? So we got to understand that, right? Go ahead.
And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all things which were dainty and good and goodly are departed from thee.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her stand afar off, shall stand afar off.
Go ahead.
For the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing.
Go ahead.
And saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught.
All in that tribulation, all these riches gonna come to nothing, brothers and sisters. Absolutely nothing. All right, so now that was dealing with the economy.
We gotta finish 17.
Go ahead, my bad.
And every shipmaster, and all the company in ships, and sailors, and as many as trade by sea stood afar off.
All right, so now we have dealt with the economy. Understand that if you're going to see these transitions, you're going to feel these transitions. You got to work hard to defend yourself from these merchants that are trying to oppress. That is one sign that we see is being fulfilled. And then, once again, we get to the third seal. It shall be fulfilled, brothers and sisters. Because the third seal, that's going to be the worst it's ever been when it comes to the economy, right? All right, now, let's deal with the two mountains of brass, which is the east and the west. This is the war at Armageddon. This is another telltale sign that we are seeing being stirred up now and that we're going to have to deal with in the future. Let's go to Zechariah, the 6th chapter. Zechariah, the 6th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 1. Zechariah, the 6th chapter, and we are going to start at verse 1. Whenever you get that, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
And I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots out from heaven, 2 mountains, and the 2 mountains were mountains of brass.
Right, so these 4 chariots are these 4 angels that's holding back these 2 mountains. Once again, the mountains symbolize governments or kingdoms, and brass symbolizes the strength and prestige of these kingdoms, brothers and sisters, right? And so, the east versus the west, the reason why the war hasn't completely kicked off is because them 4 angels haven't been loosed, right? And that's what we're waiting on, right? Verse 2, go ahead.
In the first chariot were red horses, and in the second chariot black horses,
go ahead.
And in the third chariot white horses, and in the fourth chariot gristled and bay horses.
Go ahead.
And then I answered and said unto the angel that talked with me, What are these, my Lord?
Go ahead.
And the angel answered and said unto me, These are 4 spirits of the heaven.
These are the 4 spirits of heaven, right? Those 4 angels that are making sure nothing transpires until it is time, brothers and sisters. But you definitely gonna see the stirring up of this getting to that point. Go ahead.
Which go forth from standing before the Lord for all the earth.
Go ahead.
The black horse, which are therein, go forth into the north country, and the white go forth after them, and the gristle go forth towards the south country.
Right. So they're they're on the 4 corners. They'll be on the 4 corners of the earth. We're gonna see that when we go to Revelation. Go ahead.
And the bay went forth and sought to go that they might walk to and fro through the earth. And he said, Get you hence, walk to and fro through the earth. So they walked to and fro through the earth.
Go ahead.
Then cried he upon me and spake unto me, saying, Behold, these that go toward the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country.
All right, so let's go see, let's go confirm these 4 spirits, right? Let's go to Revelation, the 7th chapter. Revelation, the 7th chapter. Revelation's the 7th chapter. And we are going to start at verse 1. Revelation's the 7th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 1. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth.
Those are the north, the south, the east, the west, right? Those 4 angels walking to and fro in the earth. They are there holding everything back until a certain time, which we're going to read. Go ahead.
Holding the 4 winds of the earth, and that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Go ahead.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Right, so them 4 angels going to come eventually. They're going to hurt the earth, brothers and sisters, but they are not going to hurt the servants of God. Once again, when the wrath comes, your riches are not going to save you from these angels, right? We got to understand that. But that doesn't mean be slothful in business. That doesn't mean fall off, because guess what? The time goes on and you're not keeping up with things, you're going to get poor and poor and poor and poor. And then you're going to have to deal with your faith at your poor state. That's what you don't want to do. So make sure that you're at least trying to use money as a defense, because God can give you the power to do that if you have the right mentality, right? Verse 3, go ahead.
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads.
So they're going to hold things back until this happens, brothers and sisters. But once again, we can look forward to that happening, and we're going to see signs of this being stirred up right now, right? We're going to see it right now because we're getting that close, brothers and sisters, right? All right, let us continue. Let's go to Revelations, the 12th chapter. Revelations, the 12th chapter. So we're going to also see what else is being built. And this is going back to the place of safety lesson. I told y'all back then, look at what's going on over there because they're building over there. Now, I'm going to put this out there too. Let's just say this is not necessarily the case. We're going to show how big of a coincidence this is. This seems like, or is this really God preparing the place of safety for us, brothers and sisters, right? Revelations 12 and verse 6. Revelations 12 and verse 6. Whenever you get that, my brother, you can go ahead and read. Revelations 12 and verse 6.
Revelations 12 and 6.
Yep.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had the place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,203 days.
Now, once again, the wilderness, brothers and sisters, you can go back to Numbers 33. If you read Numbers 33, after you cross the Red Sea, that is Saudi Arabia leading to the Jordan Valley. You get to the Jordan Valley, you cross the Jordan, you go into the land. That is the wilderness, brothers and sisters. Let's see what is going on in the wilderness. Matter of fact, no, I'm sorry. Let's read. I'm going to read something real quick, and then we'll play the video. All right. So read that for me, my brother. So this is the Saudi Arabian president, and this is dealing with the kings of the earth, making decrees. The Saudi Arabian prince has issued out a decree to create a 100-mile city in this same area, right? Go ahead.
Saudi Arabia announces plans for a 100-mile car-free linear city called the Line.
All right, so this is also going to explain when Christ said flee into the mountains, you ain't gonna need nothing. They're building it. They're actually building this city based on Christ saying you don't need nothing, don't go back for nothing, this, that, and the third, because they already have stuff set up for you, right? Go ahead.
Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia,
once again dealing with the kings of the earth, right? Making this decree. Go ahead.
Has unveiled plans for a 100-mile belt of zero energy walkable communities for 1 million people.
Go ahead.
The linear city will have no cars or streets, with all residents living within a 5-minute walk of essential facilities.
Right. So now, when this first started off, this is 2021. They keep building it for more people to be there. I think it's like at 9 million people now. This one says 1 million when it started off. Now it's at 9 million. Go ahead.
Ben Salman announced plans for the Line in a video where he described it as a civilizational revolution that puts humans first.
All right, so we're going to see where this is located or where they're planning to build this. Go ahead.
The city will consist of connected communities called city modules. The 100-mile long mega city will consist of connected communities, which it calls city modules, and links the Red Sea coast with the northwest of Saudi Arabia.
Oh, man. So starting off, once again, you cross the Red Sea. It's going to be at the coast of the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia, but we're also going to see where it's going to be stretched out to. Go ahead.
It will be a part of NEOM, Saudi Arabia's fully automated $500 billion region that will span Saudi Arabia.
So Saudi Arabia, where else?
Jordan.
So that's the Jordan Valley, brothers and sisters. Where else?
And Egypt.
So we know that Saudi Arabia in the Jordan Valley is the wilderness. He's building these cities in that area. So if we're going to flee over to that, and those cities are there, who are those cities for? Us. It seems like God is preparing a way through the kings of the earth for his servants to go over here and flee during the hour of temptation. Right? Go ahead.
And they will be entirely powered by renewable energy.
Right? Go ahead.
The Line will have no cars or streets. According to Ben Salman, who is also the chairman of the NEOM Company Board of Directors, construction of the line will start in the first quarter of 2001.
And they already been starting, brothers and sisters. They've already started building this, right? They got tractors and stuff all out in the wilderness. They hired their construction workers, all of that. We're going to see that with these videos. Go ahead.
The city will have no cars or streets, with everything its inhabitants need accessible within a 5-minute walk.
Right. So we don't need, Christ said, go over there, don't come back for nothing. You're not going to need nothing. According to this and according to Matthew 24, you're not really going to need nothing. This makes perfect sense, brothers and sisters. All right, so let's look at these videos real quick.
For now, the northwest corner of Saudi Arabia is home to more camels than people. That would certainly change if Crown Prince Salman's ambitious plans come to fruition. The heir to the Saudi throne recently announced this region is the site of his new $500 billion megacity called Neom.
Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature.
The goal is for up to 9 million people to live here in what's touted as the world's most modern, forward-thinking, and climate-friendly city. Few people, however, know about the deep biblical history of this area. Those who do wonder if the megaproject would help or harm the region's historic value. Andrew Jones has studied biblical archaeology for more than a decade. CBN followed him on a week-long adventure to some fascinating biblical sites, places almost everyone has read about, but few will ever get to see. Jones believes Mount Sinai is actually located here, very close to the proposed site of the new Saudi megacity.
So the biggest issue is that Moses, when he was taking care of Jethro's flocks, now that was his father-in-law, and when he had fled Egypt, he lived in the land of Midian. And the land of Midian is in northwest Saudi Arabia. There is no archaeological evidence for Midian in the Sinai Peninsula. And it was on one of those days when he was out with the flocks that it says he went to the mountain of God in the book of Exodus. And it says he saw a burning bush on Mount Sinai. So then you'll realize that Mount Sinai is close to the home where Jethro lived in the land of Midian.
His theory is that after crossing the Red Sea, the Israelites would have wandered in this very desert. As the team retraced their steps, it was easy to see why water was foremost in their minds. After the Israelites crossed the Red Sea in the end of Exodus chapter 15, it says that they came to the oasis called Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees. Well, those 12 springs are still here. Here's one of them behind me that's been cemented in over the years, but it's still used by the Bedouins in this area to this day. But will the new Saudi mega project threaten this history?
There's a city they call the Line, which would go from the coast all the way up into the mountains of Midian. And they just announced this next city, which is up in the mountains of Jebel al-Lawz. This whole mountain range we believe to be the mountain of God. And so you will find, as you drive around the desert, these brand new roads that they're putting in, and this whole camp set up for the workers. So it's a multi-year project. We're just hoping that they don't, not just ruin the view, but destroy anything of biblical significance out there.
All right, so now that's that one. We want to make sure we making this airtight. Let's see this other video of them actually planning this.
Neom is accelerating human progress. A new future is coming.
This broad Saudi project for the world
is progressing fast.
140,000 construction workers on site.
Significant infrastructure already complete. We are developing the first phase of our cognitive city, the Line, the reimagined industrial city, Oxagon, our mountain destination, Trojena, luxury island, Sindala, and Gulf of Aqaba destinations. A new future is emerging through 14 legacy-free sectors. In London and New York, Neom offices opened to create global partner and investor opportunities.
More than
100 nationalities
are represented
in NEOM's
diverse workforce,
which has grown 50% over the last year. NEOM is helping to develop game-changing innovations such as cell-cultured seafood, autonomous cars, electric sea gliders, and self-service e-gates at NEOM Bay Airport. NEOM Investment Fund launched. Its focus is on pioneering companies. Next-gen industries developing joint ventures and partnerships with multinationals and institutional investors. Our food sector company, Topian, is live. It will drive sustainable food production through regenerative aquaculture and novel foods. The NEOM Green Hydrogen Company has received its first wind turbines at the port of NEOM. Momentum is building across sports, too. Partnerships with the NEOM McLaren Formula E racing team and India's premier T20 cricket team, the Rajasthan Royals. International athletes competing at the 3rd NEOM Beach Games and NEOM Sports Club football team in the Saudi First Division.
Major film and TV productions are being made here.
Tomb Raider film director Simon West is making the epic feature Antara against the backdrop of our dramatic landscapes. Trojena has partnered with Ritz-Carlton Reserve as well as Raffles Hotels and Resorts. Sustainable hospitality brand Our Habitas will launch in the Gulf of Aqaba. At Sindala, Marriott International and super yacht market leader Burgess have come on board.
NEOM's happening now.
At the crossroads of 3 continents.
We are open for business in a place where people and planet can thrive. Join us. NEOM, made to change.
Now, do y'all think this is a coincidence? That is the wilderness, right? If you go to Numbers 33, it's the same thing. You're gonna find everything in this book is still over there, as I've shown before, right? But now this city is being built over there, right? A place prepared. They think they're doing it for them, but honestly, that looks like that's gonna be for the saints of God. Where you'll be nurtured, where you don't have to go back and get anything because stuff is already going to be set up for you. 3.5 years. And this is what I'm saying to y'all. Stuff is not going to be destroyed over there. If they build this up, which is looking like they already started. So if they build this up, Christ, when he comes back, he's going to destroy stuff, but it's still going to be there. It's still going to be there, right? All right, so now people have fled into these cities, right, that are in the mountains. Like Christ said, flee into the mountains. Notice they kept saying it's going to be in the mountains, brothers and sisters, right? All right, but what else is going to be happening during that time? Let's go to Revelation 13. Revelation 13. We're going to skip for some time. We're going to start at verse 11. Revelation 13. And verse 11. Revelations 13 and verse 11. This is also another reason. Well, this is the main reason why I'm not going to be so focused on getting rich for myself. Because guess what? When I get to this time, it's not going to matter. I'm not going to be able to buy or sell if I don't have the mark of the beast. So let's go ahead. Revelations 13 and verse 11. Whenever you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon.
Go ahead.
And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him.
Go ahead.
And caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
All right, so these 2 horns on this lamb is the beast and the false prophet, brothers and sisters, right? And so they will be able to exercise the power of the first beast, talking about Rome. When they had that power, brothers and sisters, nobody was able to challenge them, right? And so the deadly wound that came was the collapse of the Roman Empire, but eventually that deadly wound will be healed. And then the Holy Roman Empire, through the Catholic Church and the EU, will have that same power at that time, brothers and sisters, right? Verse 13, go ahead.
And he do a great wonder, so that he maketh fire coming down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
So he doing false miracles, brothers and sisters, and people gonna get thrown off with that. Go ahead.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Go ahead.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed.
Right, go ahead.
And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand on the right in their foreheads.
Oh, see, he says rich and poor. Y'all see why it doesn't matter, right? And if you are rich, riches are not going to save you from the wrath of God, brothers and sisters, right? Verse 17, go ahead.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
So you need to just be worried about defending yourself from these oppressors, so you don't lose your faith out here, brothers and sisters, so that you can keep up some type of way, so you can feed your family, so you can help out with the body of Christ. That is what you should be gaining and using your money for, not yourself. Because eventually it's not going to matter, right? Go ahead.
Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man. And his number is 666.
Talking about the Pope. Vicarious Filii, which is the vicar or the replacement of Christ. If you break down Vicarious Filii in Roman numerals, you get 666, brothers and sisters, right? All right, let's go to Revelation 16. We're going to show some things that are happening. Once again, prophecy is and shall be fulfilled. Revelation 16 and verse 12. Revelation 16 and verse 12. When you get there, my brother, you can go ahead and read.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
Right, so now, brothers and sisters, by the time this vial pours out, the river will be completely dry. But guess what? We're going to show that it's drying right now, brothers and sisters, right? And we want to make sure we understand that when the vial is poured out, it's for the for the way of the kings of the east might be prepared to go to the Armageddon for the last battle, the last war that we're going to have before Christ establishes his kingdom, right? Once again, we're seeing this stuff happen now. We're going to get that in a minute, right? Verse 13.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
So he's just speaking false doctrine, brothers and sisters, right? And unclean doctrine. Stuff that is contrary to the word of God, right? Go ahead.
For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the king of the earth, unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty.
That is why the vial's being poured out, so they can gather together and have this war, right? Once again, this is the sixth angel pouring out his vial. This is after the trumpets have been blown, after the seals have been open and things like that, brothers and sisters. We're towards the end of this thing. Great tribulation has ended, because that's the sixth seal. We're towards the end of this thing where the wrath of God is being poured out now. That is the vials of God, right? Go ahead.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and see his and they see his shame.
So you really gotta watch, because guess what? A lot of this media is not gonna show y'all what's really going on in the world, y'all. That's why you really have to watch, right? Go ahead.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon,
which will be the last battle ever, which is what they call World War III. It is going to, where they're going to meet at Armageddon, or it's also called Megiddo, and they're going to have this last battle, right? So let's see what else is going on. Let's go to, oh no, matter of fact, let's watch this video real quick. I'm sorry. All right, so we see that this is the Euphrates River, brothers and sisters, right? In 2020, we're going to see this is what it looks like. This is what it looked like in 2020. Y'all see how full the river is? But now we're going to get an update of what it looks like now. We're going to get it from different angles. Look at that. That's crazy.
Bone dry.
Now, as you can see, there's still water there, and there's still water in other places, so it's not completely dried yet. So we're not at the valves. That's what I'm pointing out. We're not at the valves yet. So we're in 2024. This is the condition of what the river looks like. All right, so look at this tower right now. It's most of it is in the water. But look at how it's going to be, and look how it looks now, basically. 2024. That is crazy. As you can see, it's still there. So once again, the valves are not pouring out now. I want to really stress that. The valves are not pouring out right now.
Watch how much of this dries up.
That's the land under the water.
Like the land is literally above the water now. Like we can actually see this stuff is happening, brothers and sisters. So gird up. Once again, you can go back to my beginning of sorrows lesson, the wilderness lesson, and you can see in this, and you can see all of these things are showing we are here. We're really here, brothers and sisters. All right, now let's go see that we're gonna see or get more into this 2 mountains of brass and the kickoff of this war. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51, and we're gonna start at verse 5. Jeremiah 51 and verse 5. Go ahead.
For Israel had not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts.
Right, so now we have to understand that Judah and Israel have not been forsaken. No matter how hard it gets, they have not been forsaken, right? Go ahead.
Though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel.
All right, verse 6.
Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense.
Right, so now we're talking about Mystery Babylon the Great at the end, brothers and sisters, right? Let's see some things that sound familiar. Go ahead.
Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken, and nations have drunken her wine.
That sounds like Revelation 18, don't it? Right? Because that is neat. That is Mystery Babylon the Great. Go ahead.
Therefore the nations are mad.
Go ahead.
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, have healed Babylon.
I want to point this out, which is crazy, that we got Hebrew brothers that say only Israel can be saved, but God said he tried to heal Babylon the Great. Like y'all not understanding that. That's why we got to get ourselves together. He trying to heal Babylon. He said we would have healed Babylon. Well, we gonna heal Babylon and make the inhabitants slaves. That's what y'all want us to believe, right? That's crazy. But I just wanted to make that a side note. But he was trying to heal Babylon, but she didn't want to be healed. Go ahead.
But she is not healed.
Go ahead.
Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reaches unto heaven.
Go ahead.
And is lifted up even to the skies.
All right, skip down to verse 11 and go ahead.
Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord had raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes.
Right, so this is Russia, brothers and sisters. But why did he do that? Go ahead.
For his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple.
All right, so skip down to verse 28 and go ahead.
28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes.
Right, we seeing this over and over. This is Russia, brothers and sisters, right? Why is that? Go ahead.
The captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion.
Go ahead.
And the land shall tremble in sorrow. For every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant.
So eventually this is going to happen to Babylon the Great, brothers and sisters, right? Let us, let's see real quick. I'm sorry. All right, so now let's see what's going on. We got 2 more videos and then that'll be it. Go ahead. For the videos anyway.
Shifting our focus to the other war now. Russia has sent out a harsh warning to the West. President Putin has said that if Ukraine strikes deep into Russia, the West will have to face serious consequences. Listen to it yourself.
The representatives of countries that are NATO members, particularly in Europe, particularly in small countries, should be aware of what they're playing with. They should remember that these are primarily countries with small territory and dense population. And this factor they should take into account before they speak about strikes deep into the Russian territory.
The warning is loud and clear. Putin has threatened a global conflict. Pay attention to the words that he's used. NATO countries with small territory and dense population should think twice before speaking of strikes on Russia. Without taking any names, the Russian president has hit out at France and Germany.
All right. So now, y'all see, the spirit of the Medes is starting to stir up. They're going to take down Babylon, which is the West, the Catholic Church in the Western Europe, brothers and sisters. They're going to take down Babylon. We got other videos to show this is also happening. This war has picked up, but it's an economic war, and it's eventually going to lead into a full-on physical war, brothers and sisters. But Ukraine is like the starting ground of all of this, because they're starting to give weapons and stuff to Ukraine for Russia. And it's not just the U.S. I know we keep hearing the U.S., but if y'all go out there and do your research, it's the West in general. They're giving their weapons to Ukraine to start this war with Russia. And then who's with Russia? China and their allies, right? Go ahead.
Putin and China are not bluffing, and what just happened is officially war against the United States dollar and the reserve currency of the world. Make no mistake, this isn't Russia like wagging its finger warning the United States, like, don't do this. No, that ship has sailed. Warnings are over. We are officially at war, and the biggest blow to the US dollar just happened. So I'm going to get into the very latest big economic news in a moment, which is devastating. But first, let's focus on the military piece of this, because at the very moment that a jury in New York was reading a guilty verdict for President Trump on Thursday night, the Biden administration very quietly and simultaneously launched hundreds of miles away in Washington, D.C., gave Ukraine authorization to start attacking Russia inside of Russia using American-made weapons. In other words, a hot war with Russia is happening, folks. We need to wake up right now. Think it was coincidental, by the way, that at the very same moment, all of the major news networks were focused on Trump's verdict. The Biden administration, led by Antony Blinken, delivered the good news to Zelensky. Start attacking Russia inside of Russia. Absolute madness. This is how they will control all of us. This is how they will remain in power. Keep us in our homes. Force us to send in mail-in ballots. Remember how that went last time? Don't go outside because Russia might attack us. They've been itching for a war with Russia for decades, and now they have it. Friend of the show, Tucker Carlson, warned us about this right after he was fired from Fox News last year.
So once you start indicting your political opponents, you know that you have to win or else they're going to indict you if they win, right?
Right.
And so they can't lose. They will do anything to win. So how do they do that? They're not going to do COVID again. I know everyone on the right's afraid they're going to do COVID and mask mandate. They're not going to do that. They can't do that. If they've already been exposed, that won't work. There's going to be, no, what are they going to do? They're going to go to war with Russia. That's what they're going to do. There will be a hot war between the United States and Russia in the next year. And
really?
Yes, of course. They want it anyway.
You know, at the time I was like, okay, is that really true what Tucker just said? Well, now we know for sure, and Putin knows it. He's not an idiot. Last week, he said NATO is playing a very dangerous game, and we are prepared for it.
All right, so once again, we can see this happening, brothers and sisters, right? So let's go to the last scripture, Revelations 19. Revelations 19. Once again, I wanted to show that this stuff is actually happening. And guess what? We've been learning this stuff all this time. This stuff is not going to calm down and then go back up. No, it's going to be from here. It's going to steadily get worse. And then we're going to be there complete. We're going to really be there at the end, brothers and sisters.
Knowledge will continue to increase and more will continue to be revealed.
Yes, sir. All right, Revelations 19. Revelations 19. And this is what we can look forward to, the salvation at the end. Revelation 19 and verse 1. Go ahead.
And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God.
Go ahead.
For true and righteous are his judgments. For he had judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and had avenged the blood of his servants at her hand.
Right, go ahead, verse 3.
And again they said, Hallelujah. And her smoke rose up forever and ever.
So eventually Babylon the Great will be destroyed, brothers and sisters. We will be saying this salvation unto in honor and glory and power to the Lord God and his righteousness. For true and righteous are his judgments. And he took down the great whore, which is Babylon the Great, which is the Holy Roman Empire, Western Europe, at the hand of Russia and her allies, which we see happening. That is prophecy is and shall be fulfilled. I thank you for your time.
Oh, praise.
All right, I thank you, brothers, for coming on. I'm gonna start calling y'all the history and prophecy correspondents. That's what I'm gonna start calling them. So these are the history and prophecy correspondents. Please let everybody know what you're doing, man.
All right. As y'all know, we are Brews in the Hood, Hebrew business. Of course, we are putting out more music day in, day out, but this is once again is to establish the covenant of God, even with our music. Y'all got some shows coming up.
We're gonna be in Atlanta for the Friends Love Family Fest coming up July 7th. So y'all prepare for that. Get your tickets. Who out the band? If you're gonna be in town, man, we'd love for y'all to come out and fellowship with us. And we just building the congregations, building the Hebrew camps. You know what I'm saying? In righteousness and unity.
All right, and we're also trying to bridge gaps for other Hebrews. Once again, brothers and sisters, the doctrine, as knowledge is increasing, if people really got that spirit, they'll follow the true doctrine. So we need not to beat each other up, because it's too serious in the game for us to be doing that and bickering about the smallest stuff. Also, we will start having the Walls of Jericho, iron sharpen iron lessons again very soon. I will keep y'all updated on that as well.
Yeah, so will I. Soon as he gets, I'm hey, go check them out, man. So again, I do appreciate you guys, man, for coming on, giving this beautiful lesson and stuff. And now we about to watch their videos. We gonna go with Brews in the Hood first, and we gonna go with Pardon Me, Lord. I will be right back.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? Is this not why you are here?
My resurrection come.
Is this what you came for?
The devil's testing me, the Lord is blessing me, my enemies.
Are you not entertained?
I ain't playing no games, I'm coming out of my grave, my resurrection come.
Is this what you came for?
The devil's testing me, the Lord is blessing me, my enemies.
Are you not entertained?
I ain't playing no games, I'm coming out of my grave.
Old
man sleeping, new preacher breathing. The falling in the dark on a mission, steadily seeking the life of this walking target, cause I found a meaning. So I put the souls to the paved concrete beating. A light in the tunnel's what I'm seeing, so I'm running. Power principalities ducking. Hot shots coming from the Glock of the first known hater. But I'm fresh out the water, I'm a born gladiator. Spear bumping 9, getting swole with the fate. Yeah, that iron sharpen 9, so I roll with my jakes. Standing bold in this estate, getting ready for the next one. Spirit got me armored up, chest full of Teflon. Holding on my blessed sons, keeping what he's showing me. Praying to the Father that I'm living where his glory be. On the right path, learning only from the holy tree. Waiting for the day he give me power and authority. My resurrection come.
Is this what you came for?
The devil's testing me, the Lord is blessing me, my enemies.
Are you not entertained?
I ain't playing no games, I'm coming out of my grave, my resurrection come.
Is this what you came for?
The devil's testing me, the Lord is blessing me, my enemies.
Are you not entertained?
I ain't playing no games, I'm coming out of my grave come. The fraudulence, living life as a Sadducees, got no tolerance. You are not of his majesty, it's autonomous. Hellenistic, no Romulus. See the casualties, you focus on them phylacteries. Now they battle me, got spirits in they membrane, here to rattle leave. Snakes glitching in the same lane, now I rather squeeze. You have baffled me, trying to take away my crown, and you fighting valiantly. I never went lurking for trouble, the priest working. We agree to hustle, to retreat a muscle. Fetch the armor, Satan shooting, make me a target. I am off the market, will not worship harlots. I seen trouble with all the schemes. Not a Muslim like Malcolm, but get it by any means. You can go after your dreams, but I'm shooting for the promises. Eternal is my theme. My resurrection.
Is this what you came for?
The devil's testing me, the Lord is blessing me, my enemies.
Are you not entertained?
I ain't playing no games, I'm coming out of my grave, my resurrection.
Is this what you came for?
The devil's testing me, the Lord is blessing me, my enemies.
Are you not entertained?
I ain't playing them games, I'm coming out of my grave.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Sorry, I forgot to cut my other mic back on. So welcome back to the Wake Up Show. And Brother has a K Fingers. Thank you guys. There we go. That's even better. Thank you guys for tuning in and staying with that excellent lesson. Again, like I said, these are now the prophecy and history correspondence for the Wake Up Show. Excellent lesson, man. There's some things that I'm glad that this brother brings out from history and for prophecy as well too, because we all need to be informed what's going to happen. We've learned what's happened in the past. We need to know what's happening in the future, and then we got to watch and recognize when it's happening. And a lot of times we're not watching and recognizing because, like I said in the chat, distractions are put before us. So then we start not looking on what we need to be looking for because we're too focused. Again, I just said in the chat, that whole Trump thing, I think, was a distraction for what's going on right now. So, that being said, this is Thanksgiving time. This is when you, the listener, can come on and give a thanksgiving unto the Lord. Let me see if anybody else popped in. So you can hit that link that you see in the chats. It's a Google Meets link. I'm not going to put it in again because it just starts cluttering up. You can see on YouTube and Facebook, you can see the Google Meets link. Click on that and it'll bring you to Google Meets where you give a thanksgiving unto the Lord. All right. We call it Thanksgiving time. When you come to Google Meets, please mute yourself until you're called upon. And if you those that are on Clubhouse, only way you're going to get to the Google Meets link is if you click that link that you see that goes to YouTube. Once you click there, look in the chat and you'll see the Google Meets link, and you too could come on and give a thanksgiving like Sister Tiffany is about to do right now. Happy Sabbath, Sister Tiffany.
Happy Sabbath, brothers. Happy Sabbath, family. What a wonderful lesson. I love Brother Cassius' lesson because that history, like you said, that prophecy in history is much needed. We don't get it a lot. So yes, sir, bring back those lessons. Definitely will be waiting for those. Praise the Lord for waking us up this morning. I'm in my right mind. I have my full health and strength and the activity of my limbs. And I praise and thank the Lord for his grace and mercy each day. So my thanksgiving, my anniversary, 29 years, was May 17th. Thank you, Lord, for that. We have been together a total of 34 years, married for 29, and it is a huge blessing to be able to say that. We were also blessed with the ability to go to Cancun So this last week, we just got back yesterday. It was amazing. Took my daughter, the graduate, with us, so we were blessed to be able to do that. Thankful to the Lord for making a way and providing. My other daughter went. We just had a great family time. Lesson that we learned was it rained all week. It rained all week.
Man.
So we left 90 degrees Louisiana weather to go to Cancun, and it rained every day, like some torrential downpours. However, God is still good because we're at an all-inclusive resort. There's plenty of things to do. There was times when the sun came out. So rather than being focused on, oh my God, we paid for a vacation to be rained out, and there were a lot of Debbie Downers around, but God still said, wait a minute, this is still like a little mini paradise. Appreciate what I have blessed you. So we did, and had an amazing time in spite of the rain. We did four-wheeling in the mud, so that doesn't matter. There was no thunder and lightning, so if you're getting in the pool, you're already wet. Getting rained on in the pool does not really affect you if you think about it. You're already wet. So we found the silver lining in every cloud in the sky, and the sky stayed cloudy. So that was amazing. But the biggest part of my testimony is I want to give thanks to the Lord and to thanks to my Saga family and to Brother Stevie, because last Friday, my father-in-law, who lives in Chicago, is in a wheelchair, got hit by a truck. I think I mentioned that. And he had surgery. It was, touch and go, but Sister Drew, Brother Stevie, they went to visit him, and Brother Stevie sang. Sister Drew said she was making noise, but she sang too. They anointed my father-in-law. They prayed with him, prayed for him, and he is doing so well. And the rest of the Saga family who sent prayers and well wishes, Sister Dawn and her husband, Brother Fred, just thankful to them, because although we have family members there, we didn't really have any family members that were willing to go check out my father-in-law. Wow. So that was the only other person besides the Saga family was my husband's best friend, who's also in a wheelchair, and he went to sit with my father-in-law. So he was very scared. He's still scared, but it meant so much to him that they came. At first, he didn't know who they were, but they said, well, your daughter-in-law sent us. And after that, he just had a good time. He enjoyed them. We're so thankful because they may not be blood family, but they showed themselves to be, number one, true servants, doing what God said they should do. And they showed themselves to be friends and family to us, in spite of us not sharing blood, because they don't, I've met Brother Stevie, but I don't think he's met my husband, and he definitely never met my father-in-law. So they were almost like strangers. So to just step up without even being asked, they just did what God put on their hearts to do, and I'm so thankful. My husband is so thankful, because we were on the verge of canceling the whole Cancun trip. If we couldn't get somebody to look after him, we didn't know if he was going to make it through the surgery. He's 84, so it was touch and go. He has heart issues. So it was just an awesome gift from God. And thank you to everybody who did offer prayers, but especially to my Saga family. I love them from the bottom of my heart. And I love you guys with the love of Christ. Enjoy the rest of this Sabbath. And we'll see you next week if the Lord says the same. And yes, we back on Facebook, at least today.
Yeah. We're back on here, and I'm mad at my company. I think they really slowed my speed down. So I'm about to have a fit. But it's here. The other channels I had to delete because it was not enough bandwidth. But happy Sabbath to you, sis. Thank you for your testimony. We're going to go head over to Sister Sakina. Sister Sakina, how you doing? Happy Sabbath to you.
Well. How are you? And happy Sabbath.
All right.
Very, very thankful for that lesson. And I just wanted to say, Brother Ozza, I love that shirt you got on. I love the color. It's really...
Thank you.
I don't know if I should say pretty for a man, but it looked really nice.
They say pretty and handsome for men too, so it's okay. As long as everybody know that I don't like men's. But go ahead.
Men's? Okay. So, always thankful to God, for so many things. Can never go all of them. But what I want to thank someone I want to share today. This past weekend, I was in DC for my niece's graduation, and I've always praying and fasting for my family's salvation, and pray, especially as this world is getting crazier and crazier and wickeder and wickeder. So while I was there, I invited, my sister to come to church with me, and she said she would love to. She couldn't make it Saturday, so she agreed to come Sunday. That was the Pentecost. So something happened, and she had to drop me off and go do some things, and then said she would come back. So by the time she made it back, it's like the whole lesson was over. Even she even missed, just the blessing of the food, because she forgot her scarf and had to go back and get it. And I was a little discouraged, because I was like, she didn't get any spiritual food, nothing to will her in. But after the, Brother Bowie blessed the food, Brother Jared, who's in charge of the Washington camp there, he said a few things that really impressed her. And, Brother Jared and his wife, Alexa, they're from Michigan. We're all from Michigan. So, they had that connection. And I was, just introducing her to everyone, even though I didn't know these people, because I've been to the Baltimore church, but not the DC. This was my first time in DC. So I was there Saturday for the Sabbath Holy Convocation. So everyone that I met, I was just introducing to my sister, as if I knew them, which I really didn't, but, introduced like I did. And they showed her so much love and, invited her, to come back out to attend the Holy Convocation. And she said she would, yay. And right before, yes, to God be the glory. Right before I left, Brother Jared came over and said to me, well, I got her contact information, and I make sure I keep the line of communication open with her and send her, the information where we're going to have the services, and make sure, we continue to, invite her out. And I'm just so grateful for that. This is a good start. I'm just going to keep praying and, praying that they, keep their word and just let God be God and let him do his part. And just pray, for my sisters and, the rest of my family's salvation. So that's my thanks to morning today. I'm just grateful that, to see God working in my sister's life as far as getting her to the truth.
All right. Well, thank you again for your thanks to Moni, and you have a happy Sabbath as well, and your health get better.
Thank you, Brother Isaac. You all have, rest of you guys have a happy Sabbath as well. Bye now.
All right. So anybody else wants to come on again, go in the link. Find the links that are in the YouTube and the Facebook chat. I got about 10 minutes to spare. I'm gonna give mine. If nobody comes on, we'll just go, mosey on with the show. I thank the Lord for waking me up. I thank him for allowing me to be a small light to point to him, to the big light. I thank him for allowing me to do this show. I am going to thank him for what he allowed me to see years ago and to learn things that I learned in the entertainment business. And I'm so glad he did, because when I look back at my own show now, I be amazing myself. Like, man, I was talking with Cash in Yurp about how I started off with just 4 phones, but the Lord started progressing and allowing me to get more and more things. And now I'm looking at this, like, if I didn't know if I didn't learn some things that I learned in the music industry, I don't think I would have learned how to make this show look the way it is. So I thank him for that. I really do. And because it's the way it is, I believe it's attracting more people to the gospel, which is attracting people to the Lord, because that's all it is. That's all it's about. Trying to get people to see the Lord, right? And I thank him for the guests that he has put on my heart to get on this show. I thank him for my sisters, Drew and Patricia, and I thank him for all the brothers that have came on this show to teach you guys what thus saith the Lord. So I do thank him for all of that, and I thank you guys, the listeners, too, for participating and watching. And I'm gonna say this too. I do thank you guys for your donations as well too, but we'll deal with that at the end of the show. So that being said, I don't see anybody else coming on. We're gonna go ahead over to what's happening. Stay tuned. First up, we have Bibles and Blankets. Bibles and Blankets is back. We're going to try it again today. We've been postponed for the past couple of weeks due to weather and the feast days, but we're going to try it again today, Lord willing. Bibles and Blankets, Chicago. Brother Nicodemus O. Smith will be teaching. I love God, but I have trauma. So you guys tune in today. If you're in the Chicago area, we will be meeting at Rosenblum Park. That's at 76 in Bennett. It's a couple of blocks west of 76 and Jeffrey. 76 in Bennett will be on the 40-yard line. And if you can't make it and you want to watch it online, we start streaming at 5 o'clock. Bibles and Blankets Chicago Facebook page. Come out and check out Bibles and Blankets or watch us on Facebook. Bibles and Blankets Chicago Facebook page. Rise Up Zimbabwe. This organization is helping children that are in Zimbabwe. They're trying to build a school, and they have a what is it called again? It's a $3 a day Adopt a Child campaign. You can check them out. You get all the information you can. Go to the QR code up there, or you can go to riseupfirst.org to donate as well too. You can see their progress on Facebook and on YouTube. Brother Mikael, Brother Mikael Ben Israel, Bread, Wine, and Soul Food. You can check this brother out on YouTube and on Facebook Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central Time. Check him out, Bread, Wine, and Soul Food. Truth Hour weekly Bible class with Brother Black Ice. You can check him out as well. Live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Time on Facebook Live, and then he uploads it over to his YouTube. Or you can also call in on the numbers you see over there, and you can listen in on the show through your phone. Gospel of the Word broadcast. You can check out this presentation, this show, at 4:30 p.m. today, Saturdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Gospel of the Word broadcast. You can check them out too as well. Another page from my notebook with Pastor Rodney Russell. You can check out Brother Rodney Russell Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Central Time, live on Facebook Live, and then he uploads over to his YouTube as well. So check out this brother. Why Am I Thus Bible Insights, brought to you by House of Light Ministries. You can check out their Night Lights question and answer every second and fourth Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with Brother Duell. Check this brother out. And now we go over to, now we go over to Preacher Head Ministries. Brothers, Pastor Stevie Russell. Stevie Robinson. Preacher Head Ministries does live Bible study programs every Friday night at 9 p.m. Central Time, which is 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can check him out on YouTube and on Facebook. You can also go to preacherhead.org to donate to this brother's organization that goes out and helps the homeless, helps the needy, helps the poor. And if you give your donations to this organization, they will make sure that they can get it to the people who actually need it. Same thing with the brothers and sisters at Saga. You could go to their website at sagaesc.org. You can also go to their Zelle, their Cash App, and their PayPal to donate your alms to this organization as they go out and help people who need help. Same thing in Texas, m25-35.org. You can go to them, and they're located in Dallas and in Waco, Texas. You can go to their Cash App or hit the QR code behind me, and you could get all the information you need, or you could just give them a straight call at 469-389-0047. Feed My Flock Foundation. It's located in Indiana. You could go to this organization's website, which is feedmyflockfoundation.org, and give your alms to these people as they go out and help the people who need help as well too. For the sisters, we have the Meek and the Modest podcast. These sisters are everywhere. You can go live every first and third Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time. You can check them out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, Band, Discord, and I'm quite sure on YouTube too. So sisters, if you're watching, I need another one of these with YouTube on it as well, because I might forget and not say it. But you can check this podcast out, the Meek and the Modest podcast, every first and third Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Sister Tina with her podcast, Tina Talks, real life lessons from a biblical perspective. You can check out her podcast on Spotify. Same thing with Sister Mama Kayla. You can go to YouTube, Mama Kayla, and check out her podcast, which is Homemaking with Biblical Wisdom. Check her out. Sister Jess, you could go to her podcast that's on Spotify as well too. If you are visually impaired, you can spell her name P-O, then the number 3, T-I-C, which is one word, and then the letter J, Poetic J, to check out her podcast that she tries to put out every Sunday, hopefully a live broadcast every Sunday, and you can check her out, you sisters. All right there. And then last but not least, is brother DJ Repent, playing some of the best and hottest truth music. If you're in the Chicago area, you can check him out between times of 8 to 9 p.m. Central Time on WYCA Rejoice 102.3 FM here in Chicago every Saturday. And if you are not, and you just wish to watch him stream live as he does this, you could go to his Facebook and his YouTube at Repent FM, or go to repent.fm and check out the broadcast. So we'll be right back.
Lord, please don't consume. We in a battle since the womb, ignorant to the truth. We don't know what to do. All my life I've been confused. Lord, show me how to move. Never knew about Shabbat, the Lord's feast and new moons. You couldn't tell me that was Christ on side now. True, now I glorify the Father up in heaven through you. Pardon me, I never knew. Heavenly Father, I'm giving all praises, glory, and honor. Gave you life for the harvest. That's why I go hard like I'm pushing the starter. All glory to Abba. I'm giving all praises, glory, and honor. Gave you life for the Father. Repent for my sins, I pray you pardon me, Lord. Pardon me, Lord. Pardon me, Lord. Pardon me, Lord. Spiritual battle, this a war. Who really care if it's Fendi or Michael Kors? My people scamming over Balenciaga and Christian Dior. Don't even know what's in store. Fake chains and some rings still posted on mama porch. Paper currency abolished a lot of time on this earth. Young boys growing up think it's cool, rocking a purse or a dead homie on the shirt. Heavenly Father, I'm giving all praises, glory, and honor. Gave you life for the harvest. That's why I go hard like I'm pushing the starter. All glory to Abba. I'm giving all praises, glory, and honor. Gave you life for the Father. Repent for my sins, I pray you pardon me, Lord. Pardon me, Lord. Pardon me, Lord. Pardon me, Lord.
All right, thank you guys again for tuning in to the Wake Up Show with myself, Brother Azakay Fingers. Lord willing, we try to do this every seventh day of the week, which the Lord calls his Sabbath day. but we call it, the world calls it Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Israel time on YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. If you're still listening on Clubhouse in the future, hit that link that's there at the top of the page. It'll bring you to YouTube. And I ask everybody to, on all platforms, please like, share, and subscribe. If you wish to donate to the show, you can go to my Cash App, which is Azakay Fingers, PayPal, Azakay Fingers, my Zelle, which is thewakeupshow@gmail.com. And I appreciate all donations, no matter how big or small they are. They do help the production of this show, especially when things break down and got to get fixed. So I do appreciate everybody with their donations. If you are a singer, songwriter, spoken word artist, any type of rapper, let me not forget the rappers, you have a professional video done. It's a good, at least a good 3-4 minutes long, and you wish to get a little exposure, you can hit me at my email address, which is thewakeupshow@gmail.com. Hit me at thewakeupshow@gmail.com. Please send me your video file, which is an MP4 or an iMovie file. Please don't direct me to your YouTube, because I cannot play videos from YouTube. I need your video. So if you wish to have this type of exposure, which is small, but you still want the exposure anyway, hit me at thewakeupshow@gmail.com. If you are an organization that wishes to get exposure, to get some donations as you help the homeless, if you wish to get alms from the people so you can give those alms to the people, then you can also hit me at thewakeupshow@gmail.com. I need a 16:9 flyer in order to put you up on the screen so people can see and they can donate to your cause. So with all that being said, I do thank you again for tuning in to The Wake Up Show with myself, Brother Azza. And again, Lord willing, try to do this every seventh day of the week, which is Lord's Sabbath day. The world calls it Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Israel time, YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. You guys have a rest of your Sabbath, the rest of this. Have a restful rest of your Sabbath, all right? So with that being said, you guys, peace and Jesus be. Oh, I was about to say be right back. This is the end of the show. Lord willing, see you next week. Peace out.
Time to wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Up you wake, up you wake, up you wake, up you wake. Wake up. Time to wake up.
Subscribe. Have a blessed and restful Sabbath. All praises and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in the mighty name of Jesus.
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Jesus' mighty name. Hallelujah. Amen.